right, everybody. Hello and welcome to the gray area. I'm Codependency Kate, and here we go from black or white to the gray area, which is both. I don't know if y'all realize that, if I even realize that. Black or white thinking, black or white about relationships, black or white about issues, one or the other, to both. And that's the gray area in an effort to restore your relationships. And how I like to think about this too is this is self healing in the context of relationships. So, parenting, marriage, partnership, and estrangement. Now, I don't even think I've acknowledged this explicitly before, but my content and all this stuff is for one person. Like, I specifically am talking to the person listening to this and not the person that they want to share this with, you know? Like, is that other person finding resources? Are they doing the work? Are they even in this space, you know? Like, so a lot of times when people are like, "Oh my gosh, I'm sharing this," I'm like, I don't know if this would apply to the person you're sharing it to, you know? Because this is so much about self-healing, standing up for yourself, you know, all the stuff that applies to the person and the relationship doing the work. You're on a very different journey than the person that's not, than your counterpart, you know, than the probably your estranged parents and your partner that you're struggling with and you know. So anyway, I just want to give this gift just for you. This is just for you. And especially today, I'm excited. We're going to talk about intellectualizing. I've been on a little frenzy this week about it, and it's been hitting with people from what I've come to understand. I just like woke up one day and I had this thought. It was like, intellectualizing is defensiveness. I'm like, oh my God, that is so good. Where do I get these things? I saw this TikTok one time that said that thoughts or ideas, actually, it was ideas, they like travel on a plane, you know, not like a airplane, but like a plane, and they just like catch people and you have to act on it when it comes or else it'll go to someone else. And I don't know if I necessarily believe that. A lot of stuff like that, I'm like, okay, how does this benefit me? And it actually did so much for me to think of things that way because it's kind of a no pressure situation. When you make content and you have a viral video and you have all this pressure all the time, it can be like freeing to think, oh, just an idea might hit me today or it might not. And either way, it's like outside of me. So the pressure's off me. I can just kind of go about my business. I'm sure y'all creatives out there have a lot of good insights like that, little tricks that you do to stay creative and to keep the process going. But anyway, intellectualizing. What is it? Why is it a problem? When does it happen? What does it look like? And how do we change it? Those are the questions. And you know what's funny about those questions is that you didn't hear one time. I don't know if you did actually, but did I say why you do it? The intellectualizing is defined by people that say, why do I do this? Why do I do this? Why am I feeling this emotion? Why? And the interesting part of that is that when you ask yourself why, it's such an open ended, vague question. Why am I doing this? You know, it's like when you're in an argument with someone and you're just like, why are you doing that? You're like, why did you cheat on me? And that's like, there's no right answer. Why a lot of the times is just not helpful. It's not useful. It's not practical. It doesn't get you anywhere you want to go. And it keeps people in this ruminating loop of endless, like the endless search of information. Hey, take it from me. I'm a therapist for God's sake. Like you guys know, I mean, you can imagine I used to do this all the time. I still do it sometimes. I still ruminate, still have endless thought loops about something. And that's intellectualizing. When you only think about something and you don't feel about it. And the problem with that is that, well, one, let's talk about the good parts about it. If you intellectualize and you're realizing this now, there is no shame in it. Okay. Do you understand? There's no shame in intellectualizing. It's not a bad thing. We are not black or white about things. We're not going from thinking to feeling one or the other. We just need to do both. That's all. We just need to do both. And no one taught you how to do this. But at the same time, you're probably a very smart, functional, successful person. You've got your shit together. You run the household. Like I know you're clean, maybe you're not, but like you are just when you want something, you get it and you go after it and you are smart as hell and the world needs that. The world needs you and the world needs your brain. So hear me when I say that. That is like first and foremost the deal here is when you catch yourself intellectualizing, there is that self-compassionate component that we have to have. And that is not like passive, right? Like it's not like, oh, whatever, this doesn't matter. It's not aggressive. Like, oh my gosh, here you are intellectualizing again. This is what you do. Like it's not the shame. And when shame happens like that, that's a lot of the time not how we experience it. We don't experience shame as language. Shame comes up when we're just stuck. And that's the biggest part of this whole thing. And the beginning here that you have to understand is that you are a good person. You're doing this for a good reason. And that's the first thing to do when you notice that you're doing it. Oops, like intellectualizing again. That's all there is to it, guys. I remember saying that to someone that was a client that was like, what if when you made a mistake, you were just like, oops? And I remember that being like shocking. She was like, I could never, I could never even imagine doing that. And, I'm laughing because it's so absurd that we're so far from loving ourselves in that way. 'Cause, there's an absurdity to it, but there's also, obviously a big old sadness there. That's sad. I mean, think about a little kid and they do something and you doing anything but, oh my gosh, that's okay. On TikTok, there are those moms that I remember seeing this a couple years ago, and these moms they would be teaching their kids to pour chocolate milk in a cup, and the kid would obviously, 3-year-old spill it everywhere, spill it everywhere, and the mom was like, oh, let's clean it up, and everyone in the 300,000 likes on this video, and everyone in the comments was like, oh my gosh, like if only I had this when I was a kid and my mom was like this, and man, how sad is that? That we couldn't be little kids and just spill stuff. And it's like, whatever. So that's the core of intellectualizing is that it's why did you spill the milk? You know? Why? It's that question why that is so unhelpful. And so back to what we're going to do about it today. What we're going to do is we're going to go from why do I do this, to what can I do about it? When do I do it? What's happening around me when I do it? How do I fix it? Those are actually useful questions. The why question is again, the core of intellectualizing. And when that comes up, why am I doing this? Am I triggered? And you're going so deep in your psyche. Pause, self compassion. Oh, here we go again. Oopsie. Oops. Whoops. Just a habit I'm trying to break that I notice. Oopsies. What do I need instead? Okay. What do I need to know? What do I need to do? It's like, okay, here we go. All right. So, intellectualizing is an inability to feel. And we're going to talk about the context that this happens in. Um, but again, the first part of any of this, how do I stop intellectualizing? That's a great question. And again, that's a better question than why am I doing this? But the bottom line is that you're smart and you're okay. Let me back up. The first thing you need to know, I feel like I say this 10 times an episode about the same thing. What you need to know about life and these problems is that they fall into one or two categories. Intellectualizing, there's functional parts of life and there's relational parts of life. The functional part, if you're an intellectualizer, for the most part, I bet you've got it down. I bet you've got it down. You know, when I said you're probably really successful, you're really smart, you're really intellectual, like I imagine on dates. If you go out and date somebody, you're so bored because you're so smart and you're quick. And so that's the functional part of life. And that's where intellectualizing is a gift and is a strength. And now there's the relational on the other side, like the y axis or the x axis. There's the relational part. And intellectualizing, that's where we get into trouble. That's where it's not necessarily adaptive anymore. Because what we want to do is we want you to be an effective person in your life. And intellectualizing is thinking, using your cognitive, the frontal lobe. Doing that is only half of it. Feeling is the other part of it. And back to one of the videos I made this week, intellectualizing is defensiveness. Oh, that was such a beautiful idea because that's what intellectualizing looks like in action. And it looks like that with yourself also. So when you are with yourself, what does intellectualizing look like? It looks like ruminating. It looks like you're sitting on the couch, you can't stop thinking about it. In the shower, a lot of times in water. I don't know what it is about our bodies. Like our bodies just know what to do and when we're moving or when we're in water. And so that's why you ruminate in the shower because your body's like, hey, you need to process this. You need to process this. And then when you go on walks, like I saw a video that was like, an overactive mind is an underactive body. And in the comments, people were like, but when I go on walks, like when I get into my body, it's worse. And listen, your body knows what it needs to do, and it's bringing up this information so you can process it. And I'm going to talk in a second about what to actually do after you even notice that you're doing this. And anyway, so in the shower when you're on walks, oh, another fun fact. Y'all have heard probably, maybe not, of EMDR. It's like the number one trauma treatment that you can get in therapy. It's eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. I'm trained in it and it's so amazing. If you really struggle with this, if you struggle with intellectualizing, a somatic or a physical approach to mental health is what you need. I'll talk about that at the end. But anyway, the creator of EMDR figured this out because she created this whole thing because when she was on a walk, she realized that when she was walking, she was processing things like her eyes moving back and forth with the trees. She was able to process her emotions. And part of that looks like intellectualizing, part of that looks like ruminating. And that's just a funny thing that like she made this the gold standard of trauma treatment. She put a process to it based on something the body naturally does. When you're sleeping, and EMDR is a replicate. What is it? Is a replicant? That sounds good, but I don't know if it's right. It replicates the process of REM sleep. So when you're going to sleep, your eyes are moving back and forth when you're going to sleep. And that's your body's way of processing emotions. Interestingly, when you sleep and you have dreams, That is your body's way of processing things that are too big emotionally for you to deal with when you're conscious. So, dreams are actually also a way that your body processes emotions. So, if you have reoccurring dreams, if you have really intense dreams, ask yourself, like, what am I feeling? What are these situations? What are these emotions that are too big to process when I'm conscious? Because the other thing is when your body is doing this at night, when you're dreaming, there's a switch that goes off in your brains that you can't move. You're like paralyzed when you're dreaming. I don't know if you guys know this, but this is, I mean, look it up. Like, back me up with this information. But when you're dreaming, there's an off switch that happens in your brain so that your body can't move and you can't like act out things. Now, I obviously I'm not talking about like sleepwalking and all that stuff. I'm talking about just the process of processing your emotions and dreaming. Your body knows. That's what intellectualizers need to know. Your body knows. You're not here on this earth to only be productive. You are not a robot. You're a human being. Actually, I took a class in college I was a psychology major, and I took a class in college that was like, will robots ever catch up to humans? And that was the question of this whole class I took. And the answer, like, we're basically talking and discussing it throughout the whole semester. And at the end of the class, the answer is no. The answer is no. Like, robots will never catch up to humans. There's so many aspects to that, but this is the part of us that we are connecting. Intellectualizers are like maybe perform like robots, but we're actually human beings, not human doings. Y'all have heard that before? Um, so you've got the functional part of life down, and we need to get you to the relational part, the connected part, the felt part, the body part. Because here's the thing, going back to the question of why am I an intellectualizer? You are born a feeler. You're born intuitive and you're born a feeler. If you don't have kids yourself, then you might have like just really be disconnected from this idea that kids are born emotional and intuitive. Like, that's the gift. That is the first part of human beings that develops, is the emotional intuitive part. I have a 1 year old, and she just senses everything. She senses everything, and it's the way that she's made, and it's the way that I'm made, and it's the way that we're all made. We are emotional and intuitive. And anybody that tells you like, "Oh, I'm not emotional," when did that start? You know? Where did you get that idea? Oh, I've just never been emotional. Really? Okay. Interesting, because everyone's emotional. So that's just not true. It's just not true. The thing with people that intellectualize too, they a lot of times struggle with these kind of secret things. Like, they might drink too much. You'll hear me use these like examples all the time. They might drink too much. They might eat too much. They might not eat enough. They might overexercise. They might struggle with porn. Like, this emotional stuff. They might really struggle in relationships. They might have autoimmune issues, or even like on the extreme end, people that intellectualize, they internalize. People that intellectualize, so they're only up here, they naturally internalize. So they internalize their emotions. You can internalize them or you can externalize them. But either way, you need to process them. Anyway, that's a whole thing. But this comes out at some point. So the reason why you want to ask yourself, like, why am I like this? What happened when I was feelings? What happened when I was emotional? What happened when I was upset? What happened when I was happy? Those are the questions, not why, but what happened, because that's going to give you information as to where things went wrong. And that's important information if you are a parent yourself. And so, so if you're a parent yourself, so it's just like practical things to not do, you know, but also to take the shame away from it, where it's like, oh, I didn't cause this. Like I'm not like I didn't do this to myself. This is actually a major strength that I have. I just might very much struggle in relationships because of this. And let's go into what that actually looks like in relationships. So, intellectualizing looks like defensiveness. This is the couple that just argues and argues and argues. That's what ruminating looks like externally. People that only argue. They're only intellectual. They're only problem solvers. You see this a lot with just like very like highly functional couples. Like they are so successful. They're doing so well in life. Everything on the outside is looking great. But on the inside, it sucks. On the inside, they can't take criticism. They can't connect. There's no play, there's no acceptance, like meeting of emotional needs. There's only function. Remember, there's function and there's relationship. There's only function. And function's important, you guys. Like, this is why you need to look at this as a strength. Like, functioning is important. These people in relationships are really great. They're really great teams. Hmm, excuse me. They function really well as a team. When there's a crisis, they're all over it. Like they're so good at dealing with it. They're great co-parents, but they struggle with intimacy. They have sex because they have to. They have sex because they're scared that they don't want to. They have sex because they are like, okay, how often do people have sex? Once a week. Okay, once a month. It just matters that we're on the same page. And that's true, that it's just if y'all are on the same page, what works for you. Ultimately, that's true. But deep down, do you want more? And do you feel like you should want more? Is there like, I used to? When did this change? So, intellectualizing in relationships, it's disconnection because you're not what the opposite of this is. So, it's like when someone's upset with you and you're like, well, I didn't mean it this way. Well, you're just triggered. It's just this like logical response. And the opposite of intellectualizing is hold on a second. Wait, what? Wait, you're upset? Oh my gosh. Talk to me. I'm here. Talk to me. And this is where my to you theory comes into this and why it's so important. To you. Okay, so when someone's upset, whether it's your partner or your child, I mean, with your child, I don't even like to talk parenting in this even concept because it's a lot easier to respond to kids in one way than it is to respond to other adults. Like it's easy, it's a non-negotiable with kids when they're upset to be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm present. I'm here. What happened? Talk to me." Um, and this isn't a parenting podcast. Like for me, I want to cover all this stuff in relationship, but the relationship you have as a parent to your kids is different. There's, I wouldn't say like no room for error, but there's no reciprocating. Like kids do not have to do this back to you. So anyway, separately, uh, intellectualizing defensiveness is the opposite of that, the antidote to it. And what's my little acronym? PAC. Presence, attunement, compassion, curiosity. Oh my gosh, I'm here. I see something's wrong. I'm curious. Like, talk to me. What is it? What is it? So that's the opposite of intellectualizing. And do we do that with ourselves? That's the question. That's the question. Are we defensive with ourselves? Like, hey, why are you feeling this way? You've got your little inner lawyer or inner psychologist, and you're either making a case or you're writing a dissertation. And no one gives, like, it doesn't fucking matter. Because ultimately you're not connected. You're not connected. You've got the functional part, but the relational part is, hey, wait a minute, are you okay? Are you okay? That's number one. Are you okay? Are we okay? Let's talk then. Let's go. Bring it. I got it. There's a foundation of love here. What's up? Remember how I talked about self-compassion? That's what it is. I had a brilliant client of mine recently. She's a coaching client, and I recently ended with them. And she said, self compassion is really foreign to her, and she's learning about it. And she said something so brilliant. She said, self compassion is accepting all of my parts. Like it's all of this. It's being like, okay, yeah, I mean, you're all welcome. What's up? Let's all be. Like, it's okay. It's okay. And um, that's what it is. That's what it looks like. That's why with intellectualizing, I'm like, y'all, it's okay. It's okay. You're smart that you do this. It's just we want to get you something else. We want to get you what else you need. Remember, it's not one or the other, it's both. And so, when you've got a partner that is, when you're in a relationship and you've got a partner who does this too, they're emotionally suppressed and inhibited like you because they were emotionally neglected and emotionally abused because most parents did this. A lot of times accidental in the name of parenting, but they still did. And you've got a part, it's different dealing with yourself and dealing with someone else saying this to you. But and I'll talk about that in a second. But what I'm talking about first is like just with yourself, because we attract people who trigger our wounds. And if you've got a partner that emotionally neglects you, the first question is, well, the first thing is like, okay, this is wrong. We know this to be true. This is wrong. This is not conducive to the relational parts of a relationship, the intimacy, the emotion, the romance, the eros, as Esther Perel calls it, like that matters in a relationship. The sex and the domestic stuff. Esther Perel talks a lot about that. She is my idol, by the way. Not idol, but I died to meet her one day. She actually, side note, I reposted a Instagram she did, and she liked my story of her, and I was like, oh my God, Instagram's so cool. Um, Okay, anyway. Okay. So if you have a partner that does this, the wound is super activated. It's you don't care about me. And then the question then is, but do you care about you? Hmm? Have you been in therapy for 10 years and you still feel shame? Hmm? Hmm? And take a deep breath if it's true, because it's okay too. That's okay too, remember? All parts are welcome here. All parts are welcome here. So that's the question. Do I emotionally neglect myself? Hmm. How do I treat myself when I have an emotion? How do I treat myself when I overeat? How do I treat myself when I've had too much to drink? How do I treat myself when my clothes don't fit? Hmm? How do I treat myself when my husband wanted to go play golf for the fourth weekend in a row. And I said, okay, no problem. When you neglected yourself, when you were actually like, no, actually, no. So that's the question is how are you neglecting yourself and how is that showing up in your relationship? Because remember, we're not going from one or the other. People are scared to do this because they think it's like, oh, if I assert myself, then it means that other person gets less. where it's one or the other, one or the other, you or me. And the best thing ever is that, hey, it's actually both. It's both. You get to have both. And so, the people that neglect themselves, the people that do this in situations, the people that ruminate and intellectualize. The question is like, where do you do it? First of all, remember those what, when, where, how questions, not the why, but when does this happen? And in relationship, you intellectualize either in the moment, like when you're being defensive, or you do it after the fact. You're ruminating about it. And you do that because in the moment, in these interactions, you're having emotions and your needs are going unmet. Okay. So, the best news ever is that you get to notice when you're doing this in the moment, ideally. And this takes practice, this takes time. You notice when you're doing it in the moment. You then say, what am I feeling? What am I feeling right now? Am I angry? Am I feeling neglected? Am I feeling like I need something? Like, what am I feeling? Intellectualizing a lot of times comes to from people that are like enmeshed with you, where only their needs matter, or only they have issues, and they're either hyper emotional or they're hyper neglectful, and so it's all about them. And because you love them and want a relationship with them, in your head, you go, why are they like this? Why are they like this? And then you're like, they have a personality issue, or they are XYZ. You could write a whole dissertation and make a case for why they're treating you like shit. Because that's what you had to do, wasn't it? Wasn't that what you had to do? We are inherently, we're inherently accountable to our parents, to our family. We don't have an option back then. We have no power. We had to intellectualize, you know? That's why you're so fucking smart now. But that's also what's holding you back now in your relationships, is this neglect of yourself in the moment. And so the question is, when do I do this? What am I feeling in that moment when he asks me, or when he says, I'm going to play golf again? Do I notice my own anger in that moment? Or am I all spiritual, like it is what it is? Do I bypass it? This is all forms of intellectualizing. It's bypass. It's, you know, he deserves it. He deserves it. He's worked so hard all week. That's rationalizing. That's intellectualizing. It's the same thing. It's the same shit. It's the self abandonment. It's self neglect. It's, hold on a second. I'm feeling angry. I don't know why. Wait a minute. Yeah, I actually wanted to do things today and I didn't communicate that. I'm learning to listen to myself. I don't want you to play golf today because I want to do things, like as a family. I actually want to go to the spa today. It's not one or the other. And if they are a partner that's with it, they'll be like, all right, cool. How can we both get our own alone time today? If that's what this is about. Because, golf isn't him golfing is like, yeah, understandable. That's what you need to do. You need alone time. But unfortunately, if they're emotionally not with it, they're like dissociating and escaping as opposed to like actually processing. And that's what people misunderstand too about self-care. Like, oh, I got my nails done. Oh, I went on a walk. Oh, I went and had like girls' night. But are you processing what you're feeling? But are you actually looking at your life? And like, there is a need for escape sometimes too. Like, sometimes you're so in your life and things are so big that you need that. The issue is when there's just not enough balance, is all. Self-compassion. All you need is balance. It's all okay. It's all okay. But what are we feeling? What do you want? And what do you need? Those are the questions for intellectualizers. What are you feeling? And it's going to take some time for you to build the awareness of the sensations that come with that. When you first break out of this and like learn emotions, it's where am I feeling this? Why does that fucking matter? Don't even worry about that at first, okay? If you're an intellectualizer, don't even fucking worry about it. Where do you feeling it in your body? I mean, okay, do this with a therapist. I'm just saying, if you've got a great therapist, like I said, you need a somatic one, one that is EMDR, trained in somatic experiencing, that does brain spotting, any one of these things that does internal family systems, IFS. I don't know, those are my favorites. There's a lot of other ones that are so good. Those are the ones that come to mind that are somatic focused, but don't even fucking worry about the sensations at first, okay? Just need to focus on when you're doing it, what you're feeling, what you want, and what you need in that situation. If your husband is playing golf, you feel anger when he just does it the fourth time in a row. What you need in that situation, you need a voice, you need consideration because you want this relationship. You want 1 + 1 = 3. That's the marriage formula. You need two whole people to make three, to make something new, to make three. So yeah, don't even worry about the physical sensations, but think about, when does this happen? When does it happen? The metaphor people love that I use is, imagine yourself as a house. There's 2 floors. The top floor is your brain. The top floor is your thinking, 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 thinking. The bottom floor is your feeling, your heart. If you look at me, like brain up here, heart down here. Now, with intellectualizing and ruminating, what happens is there's a foggy upstairs, you're looping, it's foggy up there. And then, but such a relief. Oh, this is intellectualizing. I remember it's foggy up here, it's smoky because there's a fire on the bottom floor. Emotions are energy in motion. They're the energy that fuels these thoughts. I love to think about thoughts and feelings as the same energy. They're the same energy in different form. Thoughts are in your brain. They help you put words to things. They help you put things in context. The fire, the emotion is the same energy. It's to help connect you to your body. It's to help connect you to your body because your body has wisdom that your brain does not have. Your body was like developed, if you think about from an evolutionary perspective, it's developed first. It's like hyper, and if you're spiritual, if you believe you have a soul, your body knows, like, there's wisdom here to be had. Your body knows. Remember back to dreaming, your body knows. Back to ruminating, even, your body knows. It is a coping mechanism. It is smart. It is a adaptive thing to do at one point. It was adaptive at one point. Now it's not. It doesn't mean abandon your brain. But there's fires on the bottom floor. There's emotions happening. I had someone comment on this video I made about this, and they were like, when you name your emotions, 100% of the time, they tame. Remember that expression, name it to tame it? It was coined by Dan Siegel. He's a brain scientist. Whatever. I feel like I have to cite him every time, and I'm sick of it. But that's just what y'all need to know. This guy invented it. He's a brain scientist. And name it to tame it works 100% of the time. When you identify the behavior, when you identify this ruminating, this intellectualizing, you notice that there's smoke on the top floor. And then you remember, like, oh my God, okay, yes, there's a way out. There's a way out. Let me go downstairs, see what is up. Let's see what's going on. What am I feeling? What am I even thinking about? What fires are even there? Is the fire in the kitchen? Is the fire in the living room? Is the fire in the mudroom? Like, where is it? What is it? When you're first doing this, there's probably so much unprocessed that you're overwhelmed. There's fires everywhere. You can't see straight. That's okay. Just noticing that that's what you're feeling, that there are fires, period. Yeah, I do have emotions. Just because I don't notice or know how to name them or notice them right now doesn't mean they're not there. Doesn't mean they're not there. The next thing to do when you notice you're ruminating, when you notice there are fires, what your body's going to do, I notice this in sessions all the time, like every time. I'll say, they're talking, talking, talking. Okay, what are you feeling about it? And they start talking, and then when I'm like, okay, so you're angry about it, you're fearful, like you're scared, you're disappointed, you're sad, you're overwhelmed. Their bodies, they take a deep breath, and it's like crazy to see in real time because it's just like your body knows. Your body knows. You can do this at home by journaling. You can do this at home. I talk sometimes about a hate list. Say we're continuing this metaphor and you're going downstairs and there's fires everywhere. Okay, so that's true. Like, right, intellectually, in your brain, because that's your strong suit. That's what we need to use. You go downstairs, there's fires because I told you so. And you remember this podcast. And you go downstairs, there's fires, and what you need to do is make a hate list. If you're like, oh, I don't even know what these are, I don't even know what I'm upset about, I don't even know what I'm feeling, I don't even know. What I want you to do is go on your phone in the Notes app, and I want you to make a bulleted list. Just everything that is bothering you. Because we're doing some exploring here, okay? We're saying, what are these fires? I don't know. And what I want you to start with are things that you can see, hear, feel, smell. You get back to your senses, okay? Remember, your body knows. Your body is in real time, and that's where we need to start. So, you guys, I wish like I need to figure out what my own boundaries are with stuff because I want to read you guys my lists. I do this all the time. I did this today. Let me look at my list today. Oh, what did I hate? Okay. Oh my God, my list is so long. Oh, you guys, don't make fun of me. I'm just sad about this. Okay. Uh, I'm not gonna read this. Mm. I guess the only thing I'll say is like, so this is my office down here. If you're on YouTube, you can see this room, this dark ass room. And I hate it. It makes me sad. It makes me feel like in a dungeon. And every time I'm doing this list, it's like the first thing that makes the list. Like, oh, I hate this room. I hate the wood everywhere. Let's see, what is it now? I'm feeling hot in my jacket now, but I like it and I don't want to take it off. I mean, stupid stuff, stupid stuff. Like, say it. It's okay. Remember, self-compassion is all of it. It's all okay. Yeah, literally, it's all okay. You're actually good to your core and you're going to figure this out. So, I mean, here's an example of like, oh, I'm hot now. I can take this jacket off. Yeah, let's do it. Let's meet my need because that's what emotions are, is meeting needs. Ah, okay. So, anyway, when you're making a hate list, you're talking about all the possibilities of things that could be bothering you. That's what you're doing. You're talking about all the things that could be bothering you. Now, this light is too bright. I mean, I look like a vampire now. Why did this do this? Oh, that's making the list. That's making the list. Whatever. Y'all will get over it. Anyway, so it's making a list, and what you're doing is, again, you're noticing where the fires are. And when you do that, you're saying, oh my gosh, okay, what do I need in this situation to put the fire out? That's what you're doing. You are the firefighter. Ooh, I don't think I've gone this far with the metaphor before. You are the firefighter to your own fires. You are. What you're doing is you're looking around and you're saying, what do I need in this situation? Am I angry in this situation? If so, I need a boundary. If so, I need something different. Anger points to a need for action. Okay, that's the need. If it's fear, oh, like I've got to go to work and my boss or my friend, she talks so much, like I can't get a word in. It's always about her needs. Okay, so you're probably feeling fearful and angry in that situation. Fear, you need protection. Anger, you need a boundary. Do you need to speak up? And here's the thing with needs and relationships. The goal, remember, is not black or white. It's not one or the other. It's both. So when you're thinking, I don't know, this is like advanced stuff, I feel like, for this topic, but what you're doing, the relationship with yourself is the most important here at first. So what we need to figure out is, what do I need in that situation? Hmm. My feelings are valid. Valid. I'm not dramatic. Remember, I'm not dramatic. I'm not crazy. I'm not too much. None of that shit. That's all shame. And maybe something that someone said to you, your own parts of yourself that are trying to protect you from feeling because feeling is overwhelming. Notice them and say, thank you. You can be on your way. I'm learning something new now. So that's what you can do with those parts, okay? Let me turn this off. Whoa. Okay. Okay, there we go. It's chill vibes in here again. See, guys, this stuff happens and technology kills me. So yeah, that's the thing. What fires are here? And I am my own firefighter. That's self-regulating, putting your own fires out. Co-regulating is when two people can help each other process this stuff. You be each other's firefighter, or you help them put their own fires out by just listening and validating. Yeah, makes sense. What do you need? What do you want? And that's what works with your kids. That's what works with every is like when there's no major conflict, when there's no major dysfunction. That's the thing. If you can go deeper than the behavior and you can say, "Hey, I notice, I feel you're feeling stuff. What do you need? What are you feeling? What's going on?" Presence, attunement, compassion, curiosity. What do you need? What's going on? It's all okay. It's all okay. Remember, I have my voice here. It's all okay. It's all good. We're good. We're here. It's valid. It's important. You're here. So yeah, intellectualizing is coming back, putting on your hate list things that you notice. Oh, my pants are too tight. Oh my, I'm hot. I'm thirsty. Like, things that bring you down to the moment. And then you'll start going in direction. You'll start just like letting your mind go. And because it's okay, anything will come up. And when you're asking yourself, what am I feeling? Yeah, it makes sense. This is the relational part of things. It's not the functional part. Okay, what do I need to do in this situation only? That's the functional part. The relational part is like, dang, that's hard. Hmm. Did you know that compassion means to suffer with and self-compassion? So you're suffering with self. It's like, oh man. I remember the metaphor of like when you pass, it was like a metaphor in addiction. I worked in an addiction rehab for 3 years. And so I learned a lot about all that. But there's the metaphor of like you pass someone and they're like in a hole and you're looking down at them as like, oh, how can I help? How can I help? Like, can I get this ladder? Can I get this whatever? And that's the functional part, right? That's important. But I remember the point of it was like, and you get down there with them. That's the point. That's the point. You get down there with them. And it's not becoming them, but and that's where my to you theory, like this is them and this is me. Can I be with that? Can I be with that? And breathe. There is a somatic part to this, right? There's the breathing, there's tapping, there's bringing yourself to the present moment. That stuff's important. Um, but I think people that intellectualize their brain as a container, like they need to understand something before they can really do it, unless they're guided by someone they trust. Because that's the other thing, intellectualizing people, they don't trust other people. Because that other person hasn't shown up for them in the way that they need that presence, that attunement, that compassion, that curiosity. And so that's the drama about it. It's just drama because it's not connection. It's not understanding. It's not, man, I hear that. I hear it. Now, here's the thing. This is the last part that I'll talk about is if you are with someone, that you're in a relationship with someone, whether that's your parent or your partner. Again, if your kids do this, if they intellectualize, that's because you've modeled that for them and you haven't been present, attuned, curious, and compassionate with them. I mean, we just know that to be true, guys. That's harsh, but we know this to be true. Um, if you have a partner, if you're learning all this stuff, remember my stuff, my content is geared for you. It's not geared for you and everyone you know necessarily, right? Like if you send this to your partner, I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna get it unless y'all are on the same page. But this last part is for people that are not on the same page. Here's the deal with people that intellectualize, with people that are very logical and they're defensive and their immediate reaction to something is that it's going to drive you up a wall the more you learn this stuff. The more you become emotionally attuned to yourself, the more you change this with your kids, the more that you are actually present and connected with yourself, the more this behavior is going to really affect you negatively. And so you may try this stuff, like you may engage with them and like, hey, tell me what's really going on. You're being defensive. And they may just deny, right? Because they're on their own timing. They're on a separate journey from you and they may not be in the place that you're at yet. What do you do in that situation? Let me first say that if that is the case, uh, you know, this is not medical advice also. I don't know you, remember, just because I'm a therapist doesn't mean I'm yours and I know the situation. So take this with a grain of salt. You're the only one that knows what it's like for you and what you can tolerate. I am a believer, well, I believe that people can change under the right circumstances. So like I worked in addiction. I did a lot of Al-Anon. Like I just getting familiar with these resources for people, loved this stuff. And part of my own journey in therapy school was like, okay, I know how to be the therapist. How do I be the human in these relationships? So, your skill set, if you're already compassionate, if you're already curious and they're still doing this, they're still hurting you, that's a whole different skill set. And your job here is to sit in truth and boundaries. You do not, compassion and curiosity might be maladaptive in this situation if we're dealing with your parent and your partner. And so I'm going to talk about that in the next episode, probably, or close to this one, because I wonder how much that's an issue for people. If it is, let me know. DM me at Codependency Kate on Instagram. Or, yeah, that's pretty much the way to contact me. Or you can just like leave a public comment on my YouTube video. And then, obviously I post all this stuff on TikTok, but the cure to intellectualizing, yes, it's getting in your body, but it's asking yourself, what am I feeling and what do I need? When you're thinking about these situations, what do I need? What do I need in that moment? Do I need protection? Do I need reassurance? Do I need to speak up? Like we'll talk about this next because truth and boundaries, what this actually looks like in practice with other people, is typically different than what it looks like with yourself. So, um, I don't know. We'll get into that next time. But thanks so much for listening, you guys. Like, when you change the way you interact with yourself, like the world is going to change. This is what we can control. And let me just say, when you learn to connect with yourself, I've been on the intellectualizing side, and oh my God, it felt like forever. And there's an end. When you practice this stuff, like I swear, there is an end. When you ask yourself, what do I feel and what do I need? And is this in line with what I want? And that'll be a whole other episode too, like talking about this stuff. My bend method. You guys, the stuff is everything. It's so easy. It's not easy. It's simple. It's simple. And when you do this stuff over time, I mean in 6 months, like it will be so different. The way you interact with yourself, the way you interact with your kids, mainly. Those two main things. And then the way that you learn to apply that stuff to your adult relationships, like it's got to start with love and it's got to start with you. And your kids deserve that unconditionally. Other adults are different situations depending on the role they have in your lives, your life. But yeah, that'll be part 2 here because it's a separate skill set dealing with people that are in your life that do not have these skills, that don't have the self-awareness, the self-growth. And that's why I want to encourage you to keep this information, keep this resource to yourself. You deserve it, you know? Just because intellectually it would make sense for someone to know this information doesn't mean they're in that emotional place to receive it. Receive this and sit with this yourself, that you're a good person. You are so smart. The world really benefits from you being here. And just because people haven't told you that doesn't mean it's not true. And at the end of the day, you got to be that for yourself. So I'm going to leave you with that. And again, message me on socials at Codependency Kate. I try to put these out once a week, every Tuesday. That's my goal this year, you guys, actually. So you can hold me to it. We'll see. If I'm going to be so proud of myself if I do that, because it's hard sometimes to show up, and it's hard to show up for yourself, but you're all that you've got. Okay. So I'll see you next time. Take care.